Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our monthly Cobra Interview. Your hosts today are Lynn and Richard. Our goal with these Cobra interviews, as well as with our website, is to inform, educate, and prepare for coming changes. Please remember that no one has all the answers all the time. Remember that your own internal guidance is the key, and always go with what resonates with that guidance. This interview today is dedicated to honor the memory of Casimir John Milosh, who recently passed into spirit. He was lovingly known as Buzz. Although he was our oldest member of Prepare for Change Los Angeles, he was our biggest cheerleader. He promoted Prepare for Change every day of his life for the last 3 years. He has not left us, but has joined the spiritual team to bring liberation to our earth. We love you, Buzz. For those new to prepareforchange.net website or to Cobra, I would suggest you go to the media archives at Prepare for Change and listen to the introduction interview done August 2015. There is more background on Cobra given there, and then the follow-up interview of October 2015. The entire team at Prepare for Change are all devoted volunteers. No one receives compensation for their work. Our skilled volunteer IT team are adding new features to the website all the time to make your educational journey more informative and enjoyable. Please use the donate button at the right-hand side of the web page to ensure continued excellence. Your assistance greatly helps to cover our recurring monthly website bills. Now I would like to welcome back our Warrior of Light and liaison with the resistance movement, Cobra. Welcome, Cobra.
Thank you for the invitation. It's a big pleasure for me to have those interviews.
Thank you so much, Cobra, for being here. Cobra, I know that you have just done an Ascension conference in Switzerland on April 16th and 17th. For all of us that were unable to attend, I would love to start out with some questions on the information that you covered there. What was the impact of the conference in Switzerland on April 16th and 17th on the planetary situation?
Okay, this was the first of many triggers that will be activated to start securing the Ascension timeline. We had a very strong group, and people from that group will spread that energy and have already been spreading that energy to the ley lines in their home locations. And this is just the first step. There are many more coming in the near future. Also more conferences and also more energetic activations that will stabilize this timeline.
Amazing, thank you.
What does the spike in gamma rays on April 10th, 2016 mean?
It means that the outer barrier, or shall we say the Chimera barrier, inside of the outer barrier, close to the Kuiper belt, is beginning to dissolve. So this allows more gamma rays to come and enter the solar system. And this has been detected by Voyager spacecraft in April.
Is this related in any way to the cosmic pulse?
It is connected because the cosmic pulse, or shall we say the galactic pulse, interacts with all the consciousness in the galaxy, and especially it interacts with this trigger point in this solar system, and whatever happens in this solar system, as I have explained many times, influences the situation in the galaxy.
Can you talk about the increase in Schumann frequencies on May 17th? Is this related to the conference in Switzerland?
I have no confirmation of increased Schumann frequencies. There is many talk about this, but there is no, I would say, real solid evidence, so I cannot answer this question.
Thank you very much.
Were the recent earthquakes in Japan related to the G7 conference that was just held there, or were they related to the private conference between Putin and the Japanese Prime Minister Abe?
Okay, there was some cabal action trying to disrupt the negotiation process. This is one thing, and there was also natural tectonic activity because of increased energies in the solar system. So both things were happening.
Are the earthquakes in Ecuador related to the earthquakes in Japan?
Both areas are in very active tectonic zones, and all of those zones are responding to increased energies in the solar system, which are a direct consequence of increased activity from the galactic center.
Thank you.
What is the plasma octopus, as is referred to in occult circles, and what effect is it having on the situation on planet Earth right now?
It is the base source of the problems we have here. The plasma vortex, which extends throughout the solar system, has planet Earth in its center. So planet Earth is the central anchor point of that entity, and that entity has plasma atomic bombs in its body, plasma body, and until this is resolved, the event cannot happen. So this is the main obstacle actually towards the event.
Thank you.
What is the purpose of the Sintamani at the time of the event?
Each Sintamani stone will serve as a lens, the focal lens for the energies of the compression breakthrough. So when the energy pulse will hit the planet, that energy will need to be conducted through a certain conductor, or shall we rather say superconductor, energy superconductor, and Sintamani stones will be energy superconductors at the time of event. And as this energy network is now being quite complete to a certain degree, those energies will be able to flow through the planetary surface quite harmoniously.
What's the purpose of the tachyon chambers at the time of the event?
Tachyon chambers have many purposes. One of the purposes is to heal human energy system, which includes physical body and higher energy bodies. And at the time of the event, those tachyon chambers will transmit certain energies that I'm not yet to speak about, but it will be an additional energy support for the compression breakthrough.
Is there a difference between the crystal light chambers and the tachyon chambers?
How would you define crystal light chambers?
I'm referring to what Sheldon Neidl talks about, and the crystal light chambers are where we are transformed into 5D beings and rejuvenated physically.
Okay, this is a so-called ascension technology which advanced cosmic civilizations have, but that technology has not yet been introduced to the surface of the planet, and will only be introduced at a certain point after the event.
Okay.
What is the termination shock in the photo from your blog post on April 13th, 2016? What is happening there with the light forces and the Chimera?
Termination shock is the area when the solar wind, which emanates from the sun, meets the interstellar wind. So it's like you have two different energy streams, two different plasma streams, and when those two streams meet and confront, there is a so-called termination shock. Termination shock is the area of the so-called Chimera barrier, with many ships of the Chimera and the highest concentration of top-lead plasma bombs of the Chimera group. The light forces are now removing this. It has not been removed yet completely, but there is progress. And because there is progress, certain new communication channels have opened between various factions inside of the solar system, below the surface of the planet, and it also reflects on the surface of the planet, especially in the Eastern Alliance, within the Dragon factions and the Eastern Alliance groups. There is quite much progress as a result of this.
Great, thank you.
What is the heliopause, and what is taking place there?
The heliopause is the area where the pressure of the solar wind actually gets lower than the pressure of the interstellar wind. So we are actually at that point we're entering interstellar space. This is the location of the so-called tachyon membrane, or as some people call it, the outer barrier. It is the barrier which has been built by the light forces, which regulates the flow of energies in and out of the solar system. So it regulates the energies from the galactic center coming inside of the solar system, and it regulates the energies and entities and beings exiting the solar system. And the flow of beings out of the solar system, according to my intel, is a little bit different from what certain other people were stating. It is not so much to contain the dark entities inside of the solar system. It is more to regulate the flow of entities in and out of the solar system.
Thank you.
Cobra, how does plasma-based medicine work?
Plasma-based medicine works on the principles of harmonizing the plasma flow. We have our plasma bodies, which are not exactly the same as the etheric bodies, and the plasma body is actually a charged electromagnetic potential body, which works on difference between various electromagnetic potential states. And if you harmonize that, you can increase human health dramatically. Basically, what the dark forces have done, they have created technology, scalar technology, which distorts the plasma matrix of the plasma body and creates illness. And plasma medicine actually reverses those effects, the harmful effects of those scalar technologies, and creates a health matrix in that plasma body, which, as a consequence, balances the electroflow inside of the physical cell membrane, and of course this restores the physical health.
Is there technology available on Earth right now?
It is in a state of development. Dragon forces, positive dragon forces are developing this, but there is much resistance and there is much, it's not that easy. It's in a state of development right now. Some of those devices are already available, and some of them are in state of being introduced.
Thank you very much.
Cobra, do you see these technologies being utilized on Earth post-event? And if so, like how long, if they're still in development?
Okay, one of the major problems is money, because people don't have money and would like to have those devices, but those devices need to be built and developed inside of the current system. So when we have the financial reset, it will be very easy to massively produce and spread them around the planet.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. How does a mothership cloak itself and its energy from remote viewers?
Okay, mothership has a so-called tachyon membrane around, which means that the tachyon membrane is not just a membrane on the physical plane, it is the membrane which cloaks the energy structure of the ship on all planes of creation. So every energy that comes towards the ship simply gets teleported from the one side of the membrane of the ship to the other side of the membrane of the ship, and thus it makes the ship invisible, also for remote viewers.
That's so awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who was the first person to give an accurate description of the underground world?
This is a very strange question, because underground world was always known to certain entities and it was never a secret.
Thank you.
What will happen between the Agarthans and the surface humans at the time of the event?
Okay, certain representatives of the Agarthan network will come to the surface and will contact, I would say, the most advanced and balanced surface individuals. And based on that interaction, they will decide how to proceed. There is much healing that needs to happen on both sides to create harmonious connection, and this will be a gradual process.
Thank you.
Cobra, can you give us a brief description of what Agartha would look like, or the underground worlds would look like? Do they have a sun? Do they have light? Stuff like that.
These are physical underground caverns, huge caverns. Most of them are natural, and there were cities and dwellings built inside of those natural spaces. Some of them were artificially extended, and they were connected with underground network of high-speed trains, very high technology that allows those places to be connected, and also with teleportation chambers. But this is a physical civilization with human beings, simply more developed, more balanced, but basically humanoid beings of a very positive nature. There have been other less developed factions which are a little bit more primitive, And there is much work being done right now to integrate those in the more advanced societies underground.
Thank you very much. How does the spiral movement of the Goddess Vortex technology work to accelerate the event?
Okay, the spiral of the Goddess Vortex is actually the torus. It is the... I will not go into much technicality right here because this will need much more time, but basically it is a natural form which heals the space-time anomaly. It is the correction mechanism for the cosmic anomaly. It stretches out all the anomaly and corrects it and aligns it with the source. So this is the basic principle through which all the plasma anomaly and all other anomaly is being healed throughout the universe. And especially on this planet, because it's a focal point for this transformation, as much awareness of the goddess principle as possible needs to happen here. And this is the main reason why this was suppressed, because it is the key to heal the anomaly on the planetary scale and on the cosmic scale.
Thank you very much.
Cobra, what is the best way we can tell others about the event and the coming changes to our planet?
Okay, there are a few basic steps you can take. The first one is you can expose the corruption of the financial system. This has already hit the mainstream media. And if people begin to understand and accept it, you can tell them about the extent of this corruption and that also there is a plan to transform this to there are people, there are entities working throughout the planet to create a better financial system. This is number one, and most people will be able to think about it, at least talk about it. And the other thing is suppression of advanced technologies, and this is another fact that can be quite easily accepted with the mainstream population, that the governments of countries around the world have suppressed advanced technologies, and those advanced technologies will have to come to the open at a certain point. And from there on, there is also it's quite easy to understand that there is life throughout the universe. This is not the only inhabited planet in the universe with all those billions upon billions of stars and intelligent life out there. And the contact has been made, and that contact has also been suppressed by the government. And when all this comes into the open, this can trigger drastic change and transformation of human society. This is the basic introduction to the event. The concept of the event itself is a little bit more advanced for mainstream population, but those who understand quantum physics and those who understand physics, also even the basic physics, understand about the phase transition. And this society we are now in is in such a phase transition.
So would you say, Cobra, that we just need to keep working at the various phases that we are already working on, the advanced technology as much as we can, and just alerting people to the things that are going on that are becoming more and more visible?
Yes, exactly. The key thing is to spread information. We need to saturate internet with positive, or shall we say, reliable intel. This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Great points. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cobra, what would happen to the human light body after the event?
The light body will begin to go through a process of activation, and this will be both an individual process and a group and planetary process at the same time. It will be actually a reflection of the cosmic change happening throughout the whole galaxy, because when this last blockage of this quarantine is dissolved, there will be huge changes throughout the galaxy.
Can't wait. Thank you.
What will space travel be like after the event and first contact?
Space travel will be instantaneous because most of space travel happens between portals. And for example, it will be one short jump from the surface of the planet to Jupiter when we have a large portal which can take us anywhere in the galaxy in less than 1 minute. Wow. So it will be instantaneous relocation to other places throughout the universe. And especially after this solar system and this planet is accepted in the Galactic Confederation, space travel throughout the galaxy will be easier than our daily travel throughout the city as we have it now.
Wow.
Right.
Where will first contact take place? On public land or private land? How soon after the event will it happen?
It's a gradual process, and before the official first contact happens, there will be private individuals that will be selected with a private land. They will be contacted privately, and they will go to the mass media reporting about their experience. And then when we have a critical mass of awareness of this, an official meeting between diplomatic personnel, so-called representatives of the planet Earth, and Pleiadian diplomatic personnel will happen, and that meeting is scheduled to happen in United Nations. United Nations after the event will not be the same United Nations we have now. It will not be a cabal-controlled entity. And even now, despite all that cabal control, there is a very active, positive faction within the United Nations working for the first contact. There is a task group, I would say a hidden task group, that is working on the first contact for decades.
Have the positive light forces already found private lands that they are choosing from?
Oh yes, of course. They are individuals who have dedicated their land for that purpose. They have agreed with that contact, and that contact will be arranged.
Amazing, thank you.
That is awesome. What happened as a result of China's gold exchange on April 19th?
This was just a test. It was a very smart move by China because China has tested the reaction of the Western financial institutions. And you probably remember there were many emergency meetings between the president and the vice president of the Federal Reserve, and there were emergency meetings in the Bank of International Settlement. There were many emergency meetings of the central banks just a few days before that happened. And the Chinese were just monitoring that situation to find out what will be the reaction of the central bankers. And of course, this Chinese move was not really the trigger for the financial reset. It was just the first step. And this gold trading on Shanghai Gold Exchange is mostly happening now within China with Chinese banks. It is not an international trade exchange platform yet. And even when it will be, it might not yet be the final step. It was just a test.
I see. Cobra, do you have an opinion on this situation with the United States? Do you think they're going to accept China's offer, or do you see them going the opposite way?
Can you define the Chinese offer?
The Chinese are offering gold in exchange for our worthless fiat money.
It is not something that I can confirm. I know there are many rumors about the reset, about how things are going on, but many of those rumors are not correct. It is not how this is happening. According to my intel, China is not offering any gold. It is simply preparing for the reset in its own way, but they are not announcing their plans anywhere.
Okay, so that meeting between the president, vice president, Federal Reserve, and the Dragon representative, that didn't involve any offers of gold for fiat dollars?
There are certain people who are claiming that, but the actual negotiations are happening a little bit differently. It is not the problem of gold versus fiat dollars, because when the reset happens, the whole structure will change, and the dollar will revalue. It will devalue, but not drastically. It will be part of a new agreement, and dollar will be one of the currencies that will be put on a certain type of a gold standard, but it will not. Its purpose is not to destroy the economy. Its purpose is not to. It's not a fight between China and the United States. It is simply a global process of restructuring the financial system, which doesn't work anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cobra, what are some of the strongest points on Earth for Palladian energy?
There are have very strong points in the Himalayan mountains. There are some very strong points in Polynesian islands. There are certain locations in Brazil, deep in the jungle. There are many, many places, and most of those places are not accessible, easily accessible to the mass population.
Thank you. Is that because they are bases, or did they just lay like a lot of energy in those areas, or why do they emanate so much energy?
The Pleiadians have built some surface and subsurface bases in certain locations on the planet, and they have chosen those locations based on the energy requirements of the place, and Pleiadians are coming in and out of those places on a regular basis, but they are not interacting much with the surface population.
Cobra, what is the importance of using our free will to bring the event? Do some people have more impact on the planetary situations than others?
Okay, the extent that you use your free will is the single most deciding factor of how much influence you will have upon the event or any aspect of the planetary situation. And the more you use your free will, the more your effect will be.
Great answer. Thank you so much.
Has the plan for the event changed in any way?
No, the basic plan is still the same, and it's not easy to change that. Because the plan is very solid, certain things need to happen, and then of course the event will happen as it was planned.
Cobra, are there any other subjects talked about at this conference that would benefit our listening audience at this time?
I was talking about many things, and it is not easy to take those things out of context and just name them here. So people don't need to worry. Intel from those conferences will be released gradually, so they will not miss anything. But those who would like to have a deeper understanding and experience are welcome to come to other conferences that will happen throughout the world.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say anything about the next conference that you're planning?
Yes, we have created a conference in Greece, very close to the major goddess energy vortex on Crete. This conference will take place in the beginning of June. Of course, everybody is invited to come. And as the conference in Switzerland had more of a pure masculine aspect, this one will have more of a pure feminine aspect present. And we are integrating those energies on a cosmic scale. It is not just about polarity on the planet Earth. We are integrating those energies on a galactic scale. So each of those conferences is different, is a step forward, and is a unique event. And it's not possible to predict how exactly it will play out because it is being created at the moment as the energy from the galactic central is transmitted through us.
I understand. Thank you.
Very good. I would like to add here that our PFC IT team has created some new links. They're a set of tools, and they're related to the event support groups, the healing groups, and the organizing tools and techniques. If you'll take a look at the transcript, you will be given exact links of where to go to look at these new features. Cobra, what is reincarnation?
Reincarnation is simply when the soul enters the physical body and stays in that body for a certain period of time.
Cobra, what is the difference between an ascended master and an enlightened master?
This is basically the same, but there are subtle differences. An ascended being, I would not call it master because this is simply too loaded word. An ascended being is a being that has completely transcended space and time continuum and does not have personality anymore. An enlightened being is a being that has had an experience of that state, but that experience is not yet completely stabilized inside of personality.
How would somebody choose an ascended master to work with, or ascended being to work with, or enlightened master to work with?
It is simply a matter of alignment of energies. So if you are align with a certain type of energy, most likely you will align with an energy, with a being that has been evolving on that same line of energy, and it can be your teacher or somebody who can show you one part of the way.
Thank you very much. What was the mission of Jesus Christ that has not been fulfilled yet?
Okay, that being wanted to have the so-called second coming, or the revelation, or the new age, or as we call it now, the event. And he was actually expecting this to happen during his lifetime on planet Earth when he was having his mission 2,000 years ago. And of course, this has not been fulfilled yet.
So what is it going to take to fulfill this mission? The event?
The event, yes, of course, the event will complete the age on this planet, the cycle on this planet, and will begin a new cycle.
Thank you very much. What are the 5 elements of creation, and are we all created through the 5 elements?
Okay, this is just one arbitrary description of how creation is being done, so I will not answer this question in a traditional way.
Okay. Is there anything you can say about the 5 elements of creation?
I have already answered this question. This is just one understanding or description of how creation is being done, but I would not completely agree with that.
Okay, thank you.
Cobra, do you know how many incarnations Jesus has had?
He had quite many dozens of incarnations before the last one 2,000 years ago.
So 2,000 years ago was his last.
Yes, this was his last incarnation on the surface of this planet.
Do you see, or is there a plan for him coming back into a physical body here on Earth?
An ascended being does not come back in a physical body. He creates a hologram that looks like a physical body. This hologram becomes visible to other people, but it's actually condensed light. It is not a regular physical body.
So it will appear physical to human beings?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Cobra, I understand that Jesus practiced and taught what are currently known as the 5 elements process, that are the gifts of Master Shirdi Sai Baba, returned to us by Avatar Sri Kaleshwar. Is it true that the 5 element process is what Jesus used as a foundation to grow his spiritual power and abilities?
Okay, this is again a question which is based on certain ideology, certain understanding, and I cannot answer this question in the context of that understanding.
Cobra, do you know about Shirdi Sai Baba, also known as Sai Baba of Shirdi?
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about him or what his role in creation is?
Again, I would say there are many gurus, there are many teachers, there are many entities, and for this particular one, and for all the teachers and gurus from the Sai Baba lineage, I would say there is a lot of information that is not correct. So I would encourage people who are studying this to go beyond the preconceived limitations they have read in the books. And if they want to have a direct experience with those beings, connect with them with openness and also without any preconceived ideas of what they will experience, because what they will experience may surprise them.
Thank you very much.
We also have a question about Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, and would it be similar, your advice be similar as to with Sai Baba, as far as his role in Western civilization, teaching Western civilization?
Okay, information about him that is available on the surface of the planet is much more reliable. So I would say here it's not such a tricky subject. He basically brought to the West some teachings of Babaji, some Kriya techniques of Babaji, and his mission is quite clear and understandable, and his energy has not been so compromised and distorted as the energy of the Sai Baba lineage was.
I see. Thank you. Cobra, can you tell us about the Galactic Codex and where it came from?
Galactic Codex was discovered many millions of years ago by the central civilization which emerged from the central region of the galaxy. And this civilization was discovering this codex when they reached a certain level of spiritual understanding, when they were discovering basic laws of creation. And then I would say every civilization that reaches a certain level of development accepts that codex spontaneously based on their inner understanding of the nature of the universe. So it's a natural organic process which happens at a certain stage of maturity of a certain civilization.
You have put forth this information on your website recently, and it has been turned into a YouTube video by Smalley7, and he did an absolutely beautiful job of expressing in visual pictures and words in several languages the concept of the Galactic Codex. And I encourage people to either go to your website or Prepare for Change and view this video in their own language, and then to sign the Galactic Codex on change.org. It's really beautiful. Do you have anything to add to that, Cobra?
I would completely agree with this. If people would like to sign, they can just go to Google Cobra Portal 2012. The topmost blog post is the blog post about the Galactic Codex and the petition and the situation update. And the first link they can click is the link to change.org that goes exactly to the petition, and they can sign it there if they feel so guided. And below that, we have videos in 11 languages at the moment.
Yes, that's great. I would like to add, for people who want to become more active and play a part in the planetary liberation, there are really 3 things that you can do. First of all is to meditate with us each Sunday at 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And secondly, to sign the Galactic Codex. And thirdly, to start an event support group in your area. And you can find all of this information and links to it by referring to the transcript of today's interview.
So Cobra, as a reader is concerned about why the coal industry in the U.S. and Australia are shutting down, some areas electricity run off of coal at present. Is that a cabal tactic to shut down the grid? Is this a tactic to finish off our financial system and institute New World Order? Well, what can be done about this?
It is simply manipulation of prices. It's a part of the cabal's business strategies to earn more money.
Thank you.
Cobra, we've had several Asian readers that would like you to talk about the cause of the Kumamoto earthquake, and they say that there has been a series of significant earthquakes in Japan as well as other countries around the world since April 14th, and are still continuing at a large scale.
I've already answered this question today. There are 2 factors. The first one is cabal interference with the tectonic plates and with the scalar weapons, and the second one is the natural activity of the galactic central sun, which has increased since mid-April, and a part of those earthquakes are response to this.
Is there anything you can tell the Japanese people to comfort them?
Yes, of course, they can do a mass meditation to calm down the tectonic plates in Japan. If you have a critical mass of people doing that, the tectonic plates will calm down.
That's amazing.
Great
Thank
advice.
You. Cobra, there are reports of fighting in Aleppo. Is the RM losing control of that area?
No. This is simply one part of the resolution of the conflict in that area, because the situation has not been resolved yet.
Thank you. What about Golden Heights? Will Israel be allowed to hold it until after the event?
This is not decided yet, because the situation in the Middle East is still quite unstable. But it is known that after the event there will be a drastic restructuring of Israel's state, and there will be many changes in that area. many injustices, many disbalances will have to be addressed and resolved. But this is only happening after the event through a peaceful negotiation process.
Thank you. Cobra, why isn't China helping in Syria?
China is helping in Syria in a certain way, not exactly in a very visible way, but they are assisting Russia in a certain way that I'm not talking about.
Thank you. The physical dimensions seem to expand when receiving strong infusions of light. Can you explain your version of this?
I do not agree with that statement.
Thank you very much.
Do the precious metals, palladium and platinum, have any special occult properties?
Yes, of course. The so-called noble metals have very distinct and very strong occult properties. The platinum group of metals is connecting us, especially with our soul star chakra and even higher chakras with higher dimensional bodies. I would say the platinum metals are higher octave of gold for those who are really strongly spiritually developed. They cannot be used by an average person because the refined frequency of those metals is simply too high. But with a highly spiritual advanced person, metals like platinum, palladium, osmium, iridium, and similar metals are quite effective in connecting with your own higher self, with your own I am presence.
What would you say about silver?
Silver is a metal which calms down and harmonizes our energy bodies.
Okay, thank you.
Cobra, what is happening with Goddess Domu, who came to Earth in January 2015? Can you tell us more about her and why she is involved with the Earth right now?
She came to anchor Goddess energy for the planet. She came from another star system through the Eastern Agartha network, and is now located in somewhere in Asia. I will not tell the exact location, but she's present there and she's holding the energy of the feminine presence for the planet. She's an actual physical being living in the physical body, supported by Eastern Agarthan network. They are supporting her physical body and she's channeling those energies for the planet.
Is she an ascended being also?
She is not a so-called ascended being. She is a living being that is highly spiritually developed, has not yet ascended, and is living in the physical body.
Thank you.
A reader writes, my question for Cobra is about general health and fitness tips that he might have for the surface population, other than the common knowledge of eat well and get regular exercise. Does Cobra know any special or specific health regimes, supplements, herbs, foods, diets, fluids, fitness regimes, air purification, and other technologies that would create optimum physical and mental health in the average surface human, even in the current culture and environment?
Okay, the key here is balance. It's very simple. Balance between various elements that you have just stated can create the optimum result for a surface population. And one more thing is to drink a lot of pure water as pure as you can find.
Thank you.
Cobra, are the rape allegations against Bill Cosby truthful, or is it a cabal-orchestrated smear campaign? Sorry if the subject seems trivial, but in my opinion it speaks to a massive degree of control through their media conglomerates, if it is indeed a cabal attack on his reputation.
It is a cabal attack. It's a usual tactic the cabal uses towards anybody who is not behaving according to their wishes.
I understand. Is that how the cabal determines who they'll kill off or who they'll merely ruin their reputations?
This is one of their tactics, as I have just said.
Okay, thank you.
Why does the pyramid need to face north, south, east, and west? What is the difference between the Nubian type and the Cheops type of pyramid, other than just the angle?
If the pyramid is aligned with the Earth axis, it creates the most harmonious flow of energy as the Earth rotates around its axis. And the Nubian type of pyramid has a different angle, which is not as aligned with the sacred geometry principles, because the pyramids, I would say the Great Pyramid in Egypt near Cairo, has very close to ideal properties, geometrically speaking.
Thank you.
Cobra, can two souls occupy one body?
It is possible, and is quite common in the so-called obsession phenomenon when a certain host entity leaves space for another entity to come into the same body.
What benefits would this provide?
There would not be many benefits. It's more of a controlling mechanism that the Cabal uses, and the dark forces use to control the population.
I understand. Thank you.
Are truth movement sites and other alternative news outlets distraction from one's self-evolution journey of ascension and personal transformation?
Everything can be a distraction or it can be a tool. It's up to you how you use it.
Okay, thank you.
Cobra, what is the true spiritual purpose of hair? Many enlightened beings usually have long hair. Native Americans believe that their hair brings them spiritual power. Is this true?
Yes, hair are like antenna that can transmit and receive energy.
Why do Why do monks usually shave their heads?
It was actually this has been introduced by the archons a long time ago to control the monks and actually to suppress their spiritual development.
Wow, thank you. Cobra, all the visual depictions of men of the inner earth civilizations described as Corey Good are beardless. Is that so?
I haven't seen every picture that he has released, and I cannot comment on his perspective on inner earth civilizations.
I understand. Thank you.
What role do the end times and Jesus returning have to play in the coming event?
There has been many prophecies and many mental belief systems created out of those prophecies about the end of the cycle, about the new age, about the change on this planet, and all those are reflections of the truth. There is some element in truth in all of them, and there is some distortion. How exactly it will happen, we will see when it happens. And this being called Jesus had his role and will have his role, as will anybody else. So we will all create this together in a way that will be in the most possible positive way in alignment with a plan which exists.
Thank you. Cobra, haven't many people already been outside of the veil? Astronauts, military pilots, participants in the space programs, the secret space programs? What does this mean for these people? How does it affect them?
Okay, it's a double-edged sword. First, many of them had deep spiritual experiences because they were outside of the veil. And at the same time, the controlling forces tried their best to suppress those experiences and keep the secrecy going. So all those people, all those astronauts were under great psychological pressure and were heavily mind controlled to suppress what they have seen and experienced. So being an astronaut was not an easy job. They had some beautiful experiences, and they were also heavily traumatized. And this is the reason for the strange behavior of the astronauts. There are some famous cases of astronauts who returned from the moon and had deep psychological problems as a result of the psychological and physical mind programming they have been subjected to.
I understand. Thank you.
On another subject, Cobra, one of our readers is asking about men and women staying as virgins and if there's any spiritual value to this.
Okay, if somebody is guided in that direction, of course it has a spiritual value to that particular person. But I would say I would not support any ideology that would put this as a condition to achieve a certain spiritual state.
Okay, thank you.
Cobra, this reader says, I live in Germany near the Big Harp in Rostock, and I feel the low energies at night. How can I protect myself and keep up my energy before and while asleep?
Simply do not put too much attention on those influences and keep your vibration connected with a positive source, and to stay in balance, spend some time in nature.
Excellent, thank you.
Cobra, is Bernie Sanders of the light, or are any of the U.S. candidates for president of the light?
I would not put too much hope in any of those candidates because all of them are or will be controlled or should be, or I would say are planned to be controlled by the cabal if they are elected.
Is there any significance associated with the people that are born albino?
I would not put any special significance to that particular condition. I would say that soul can express in any type of body, in any type of condition, and it is not conditioned with that particular condition.
I understand. Thank you.
Cobra, how will mainstream media play into spreading the accurate information regarding the event and disclosure?
When the event happens, the controlling factor, the censorship factor will be removed from the media. The media will report the intel that will be released. So the situation will change. It will not be as it is now.
Is DNA manipulation a common practice for advanced species capable of this?
I would say spiritually advanced species are growing beyond DNA manipulation because they understand that consciousness is superior and DNA aligns with the consciousness. So they are more focused on expansion of consciousness, and the physical body aligns with that expanded consciousness. And DNA manipulation is a very limited concept which I would say advanced civilizations have completely outgrown.
Okay.
Cobra, can you please tell us something about Master Al Moria and the Great White Brotherhood?
Okay, that particular ascended being is working in, I would say, guiding politicians and people on the positions of power around the planet. And he had a very difficult task because people who are in positions of power were in most cases not able to handle that power. And the Russian President Putin is one example when his mission was successful.
I understand. Can you tell us anything about the Great White Brotherhood?
This term, Great White Brotherhood, simply describes ascended beings of male and female polarity which have gone through Earth incarnations, have reached the ascended state, and are now helping in the process of the planetary liberation.
Thank you very much.
We will have to finish quite soon.
Sure.
Do you have some information about the current situation in Brazil? This person is very concerned because the majority of the people in Brazil think the elected president must be removed from power. You said the cabal wants to weaken the BRICS by destabilizing Brazil. Could this destabilization come with the removal of the current elected president, Dilma, from power?
Actually, the destabilization process has begun some time ago and is now continuing, and the removal of the current president is just one step in that process. One part of this process is that the cabal has misused the existing corruption within the Brazilian government. Of course, corruption exists everywhere. This is the first aspect. The second aspect is the cabal always misuses the mistakes of local governments to destabilize those governments. And what the cabal does is they introduce even greater corruption and greater distortion. So this is what is happening now in Brazil, and the light forces are taking certain steps to stabilize Brazil again.
Okay. Well, we are coming to the end of our hour, and we still have many more questions, but this happens every month, so this is not new. I want to thank you, Cobra, for being with us for this hour, and we will try to do this again at the end of the month as kind of a wrap-up for May. So, thank you for being with us.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to be speaking with you.
Do you have any closing words for our audience?
Yes, I would say that not much is happening on the surface. Many things are happening behind the scenes. There is not much intel being released, but I expect in the month of May things to get a little bit more interesting.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Cobra.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
I would like to encourage our listeners to use the donate button in the right-hand column of our website. Please show that you like the content here by your contribution. In closing, I would like to thank the whole team that made this interview possible. Cobra for being a gracious guest. His website is 2012portal.blogspot.com. Dove for his theme song, Voices of the World. Danelle for her transcription expertise. My co-interviewer, Richard. Aaron on sound. Untwine for modulation and editing. And all our wonderful listeners. And remember always that we are all voices of the world.
I hear the words of Gandhi and Martin Luther King to take the peaceful path, to dream the noble dream. We're all brothers and sisters who share a world that's small. When we let go of our greed, there'll be enough for us all. The walls have been built to keep people apart. We can join together through the beauty of the heart. I hear the voices of the world singing songs of peace and light. I see the vision of harmony appearing within our sight. From every culture, every faith, a flower blooms to right each wrong. We are the voices of the world. Add your voice and sing along. All mothers feel their child as they laugh and learn and cry. All fathers feel the same pride when they look into their eyes. Yet some families go hungry, struggling just to live. But there's enough for everyone if we just knew how to live. Now is the time for a new era to start. We can join together through the beauty of the heart. I hear the voices of the world singing songs of peace and light. I see the vision of harmony appearing within our sight. From every culture, every faith, a flower blooms to right each wrong. We are the voices of the world. Add your voice and sing along. All people are part of the dream. With love to show the way, the violence will cease. All people are part of the team to extend harmony, so the world will live in peace. I hear the voices of the world from every village, every land, a ray of hope within each smile, a new friend to join my hand. The human spirit lifts us high to fill our hearts